I was at this rooftop bar in Austin last summer. It was one of those nights where the heat just hangs on you, and the air smells like expensive perfume mixed with exhaust fumes from the street below. The place was packed with guys trying way too hard. Flashy watches, loud laughs, guys leaning over tables like they're trying to sell a used car. I was sitting by the rail, just watching the room. There was this guy about 10 feet away. Great suit, perfect hair, clearly spent money to be there. He walked up to a group of 3 women. From the moment he took his first step toward them, I knew it was over. He hadn't even opened his mouth, but I could see the women's energy shift. They didn't even look at him. They looked through him. One of them checked her watch before he even reached the table. He thought he was failing because of his opener. He wasn't. He failed because of the 10 seconds before the opener. Most of you guys think attraction starts when you start talking. It doesn't. Attraction, or at least the possibility of it, is decided while you're still walking across the floor. By the time you say hi, she's already run a full diagnostic on your nervous system. She knows if you're an anchor or a sail. She knows if you're comfortable in your own skin or if you're wearing a mask you bought at the mall. Today, we're talking about the 10-second diagnostic, the things she notices before you even clear your throat. If you've ever felt like a girl was bored of you before you even finished your first sentence, hit the like button. You aren't crazy. She probably was. And if you want to understand the subtext of dating that most guys completely miss, subscribe to the channel. I'm looking at the comments. What's the one thing you're most self-conscious about when you first walk up to a woman? Let's get into it. 1. The walking diagnostic. I remember my buddy Sarah, who's as blunt as they come, once told me that she can tell a guy's entire relationship history just by how he walks through a crowded room. I thought she was joking, but she wasn't. When you walk into a space, are you checking the weather? Are you looking around to see if people are looking at you? Are you adjusting your shirt? That's social scanning. It tells her you're seeking permission to exist in that space. A man who stays steady doesn't look around for approval. He knows where he's going. He has a destination, even if he's just walking to the bar. If you're scanning the room like a lost tourist, she's already clocked you as a sail, someone moved by the wind of other people's opinions. 2. The shoulder tension. I used to carry all my stress in my traps. I'd walk around with my shoulders slightly hunched, like I was bracing for a hit. I thought I looked focused. I actually looked like a guy who was terrified of the world. She notices the static load of your body. If your neck is stiff and your shoulders are up by your ears, she doesn't see strength. She sees a high cortisol man. She sees someone whose nervous system is on fire. A woman wants to feel that you are a place of rest, not a source of more tension. If you look like you're ready to snap, she's going to move to someone who looks like he's actually enjoying the air he's breathing. 3. The wait and see eyes. This is a big one. I see guys do this all the time. They'll make eye contact with a woman, and then they'll wait for her to smile before they do. They're waiting for a signal that it's safe. That's reactive signaling. In those first 10 seconds, she's looking to see who leads the emotional temperature. If you're waiting for her to give you permission to be friendly, you've already handed her the lead. I remember being in a coffee shop in Denver, and I just looked at the girl behind the counter and gave a slight nod. No smolder, no weird pickup look, just a steady, non-reactive gaze. She actually stood up straighter. Why? Because I wasn't asking her for anything with my eyes. I was just there. 4. The fidget tax. I used to be a phone tapper. I'd stand at a bar and constantly check my phone, or spin my drink, or mess with my watch. I thought I was just busy. She sees micro-oscillations. Every time you fidget, you're leaking energy. You're telling the room that you can't handle being still for 10 seconds. Stillness is power. I learned this the hard way at a wedding a few years back. I decided to just stand there with a drink, not checking my phone once. It felt like an eternity. It felt awkward as hell. But 3 different people came up to talk to me. Why? Because I looked like the only guy in the room who wasn't panicking. 5. The audition voice. Even if you haven't spoken to her yet, she hears you talking to the bartender or your friends. She's listening for the uptalk. Does your voice go up at the end of a sentence like you're asking a question? I'll have a Heineken? It sounds like you're asking for permission to have a beer. I remember hearing myself on an old recording of a podcast I did, and I cringed. I sounded like I was trying to convince the audience to like me. She notices if your voice is resonant and coming from your chest, or if it's tight and coming from your throat. If you're auditioning with your voice, the 10 seconds are over. 6. The proximity test. How close do you get? Most guys either hover 3 feet away like they're scared of a restraining order, or they invade her space like a bulldozer. She notices your spatial awareness. I had a friend who would always lean in way too far when he spoke to women. He thought he was being intimate. He was actually being invasive. A steady guy respects the buffer. He walks in, takes his space, but he doesn't clamber for hers. He lets her fill the gap if she wants to. If you're leaning in before you've earned the right to, she's already leaning back. 7. The hand placement. This sounds stupid, but it matters. Where are your hands? Are they in your pockets? Are they crossed over your chest? Are you clutching your drink like it's a life raft? In those first 10 seconds, she's looking for openness. Pockets tell her you're hiding. Crossed arms tell her you're guarded. I remember being at a house party and just consciously keeping my hands at my sides, relaxed. It felt exposed, honestly, but it changed the way people approached me. It says, I have nothing to hide, and I'm not afraid of you. 8. The depth of field. When you walk toward her, where are you looking? Are you staring at her like she's a target, or are you looking past her? She notices your gaze depth. If you're hyper-focused on her, it's predatory or desperate. If you're looking at the whole room and she just happens to be in your path, it's relaxed. I used to make the mistake of locking on to a girl from 20 feet away. It's too much pressure. It's like a spotlight. Keep your gaze wide. Don't make her your only focus until you're actually in front of her. 9. The pace of the turn. I was at this lounge in Chicago a few months ago, and I saw a girl call out to a guy she knew. He spun around so fast he almost spilled his drink. It was like he'd been waiting his whole life for her to notice him. She notices the reaction speed. If you turn your whole body the second you hear a noise or a voice, you're signaling that you're on high alert. You're jumpy. I remember being in a busy terminal at O'Hare, and I made a conscious effort to just slow everything down. If someone caught my attention, I'd turn my head first, then my shoulders. It feels like you're moving through water. It signals that you are the one in control of your time and your movement. If you're snapping around like a nervous bird, she's already decided you're a guy who can be easily rattled. 10. The micro-correction. I see this at every bar in the country. A guy sees a girl he likes, and right before he moves, he does the pre-flight check. He pats his pockets, he straightens his collar, he licks his lips. She sees the adjustment. It's a dead giveaway that you don't think you're enough as you are. You're fixing yourself for her. I remember one night I was wearing this leather jacket that didn't fit quite right, and I must have adjusted the hem 50 times. I felt like an idiot later when I realized I was basically announcing to the room that I felt out of place. A steady guy assumes he's already ready. If your collar is popped or your hair is messy, you just own it. The second you try to fix yourself in her line of sight, you've told her that her opinion of you is more important than your own comfort. 11. The threshold beat. Watch a guy walk into a room. Most guys rush the door. They walk through the entrance and immediately move toward the bar or a table. They're trying to hide in the crowd as fast as possible. The threshold beat is that 1-second pause when you first enter a space. I started doing this about a year ago. You walk through the door and you just stop for one breath. You let your eyes adjust. You let the room see you instead of you trying to see the room. It's incredibly uncomfortable at first. You feel like everyone is staring, but what you're actually doing is claiming the space. You're saying, I'm here, and I'm in no rush to get anywhere else. She notices that pause. It's a level of comfort that most guys just don't have. 12. The drink anchor. Next time you're out, look at how guys hold their drinks. Most of them hold it right at chest level, like a shield. They're guarding their heart, literally. She sees the guard. I remember standing at a club in Vegas, and I realized I was holding my gin and tonic like it was a shield against the world. I consciously lowered it to my hip. My whole posture opened up. My chest was exposed. It's a subtextual signal that says, I'm not afraid of what's coming at me. When you hold your drink high, you look like you're bracing for a conversation you aren't ready for. Lower the drink, open the chest, show her you aren't defensive. Look, the reason we obsess over the opener is because we're scared of the silence. We want a magic spell that skips the part where she judges us. We want to believe that if we just say the right words, we can bypass the fact that we're shaking inside. But you can't skip it. Those first 10 seconds are a test of your internal weather. Are you a man who is calm and steady, or are you a man who is reacting to everything around him? I spent years trying to memorize lines, and I always wondered why they never worked. It's because I was delivering them from a body that was screaming, "I'm not enough." I was like a guy in a high-end suit with a nervous tic. No matter how good the suit was, the tic was the only thing people saw. She isn't looking at your shoes as much as she's looking at how you feel about your shoes. She isn't looking at your watch as much as she's looking at why you keep checking it. She's looking for an anchor, someone who doesn't move when the room gets loud or the vibe gets weird. It's about the subtext of presence. If you walk into a room and you're already looking for the exit or looking for the win, she feels that. It's a vibration of lack. But if you walk in and you're truly just there to enjoy the music, the drink, and the people, you become a magnet. You aren't pulling for her attention anymore. You're just existing in a way that makes her want to be part of your world. If you can stay still, stay quiet, and stay in your own skin for 10 seconds, you've done more than 90% of the guys in that room. You aren't auditioning anymore. You're just there. And that's the only place attraction actually starts. Attraction is a game of who is more solid. In those first 10 seconds, she's checking to see if you're a man she can lean on, or if you're someone who's going to tip over the second things get difficult. Stop focusing on what you're going to say. Start focusing on how you're going to be. Work on the tension in your shoulders. Work on the speed of your walk. Work on being okay with being seen. In the next video, we're going to look at the first date trap. The 3 things you're doing that are turning a maybe into a no before the appetizers even show up. It's the stuff you're doing when you think you're being gentlemanly, but you're actually just being a doormat. Stay steady, stay grounded. I'm Mark, and this is Mark on Dating.